Hey guys, it's me, Sloan. And, well, okay, so I don't know exactly how to start this. Okay, my son and I have had a lot of arguments over this in the last couple of years, mainly because there is a trend that goes on where people are saying believe all women. And as someone who is a survivor, I have to say, not all women are honest. When I was growing up, the clique that I was in, there was just a lot of us that were street kids. You know, we all had run away from home. Some of us were gangsters, some of us were not. And all of us kind of bonded over the neglect and abuse in our homes and what we had endured. And there were some of us who had genuinely endured some really, really horrific shit, and some of us who had shitty homes, and it was bad, but not like horrific bad. It was just bad. And so they had every reason to leave home. They just didn't have it as bad as some of us. And I say this because when I would hear them tell their story, I empathized with them. About a year later, I would hear them retell their story, and they would add details that were being told when I was telling my story or when my cousin was telling her story. So they were kind of stealing from our stories and embellishing their own, I guess, to make themselves seem more believable as a victim because we got more attention because of our horrific pasts, and they, I guess, didn't seem to get enough attention for what they had gone through, which again is valid. They had a really, really crappy past and they left for reasons. And I'm not saying that what they went through wasn't valid and that what they went through wasn't crappy. It was. There are degrees of crappy in families. I say this to say that when years later the Johnny Depp trial arose, my son walked into the room and said, "Well, how do you like it now? Your future ex husband to be is a wife beater. I guess you have a type." When I tell you I watched every second of that trial, and I watched as much material as I could find on Amber Heard and as much material as I could find on Johnny Depp. And when I saw the testimonials from all of his exes, Ellen Burstyn aside, who's an older jilted lover who got broken up with, clearly, she was upset about that. He threw a wine bottle or a wine glass across the room that scared her. Okay. But never in his life had he been accused of actual abuse. Now, I say this to say that I know abusers. I've seen them. I've lived with one. I understand what these guys are like. And in his demeanor, in his way of speaking, I've never got even so much as an inkling from him. And I can read these men. I lived with mine for 6 years. Again, I say this to say that when I watched anything with Amber Heard in it, I got the abuser vibe. And so when everything came out in the trial that she was the abuser and he was not, and she initiated everything and she did what she did, I then reapproached the conversation with my son and I explained to him that we can smell our own. And I kind of figured that Johnny had been the victim in what happened. And my son said, "Oh, so um, you're going to take the side of the abuser. He raped her. He beat her." All situations are nuanced. All situations are nuanced. But the Johnny and Amber trial, there's nothing nuanced in that. And I say that one specifically because there's the Evan and Marilyn Manson trial, which also is another one where she's a liar. And don't get me wrong, I love her as an actress. And she's an amazing actress, which you can tell with the Marilyn Manson trial. She played everyone involved. And so when I say that these women are not to be believed, these specific women are not to be believed. I'm not saying that all women should not be believed. I'm not saying that all victims are liars. What I'm saying is that on a case-by-case basis, these things can be sussed out because these specific cases aren't real. Weinstein and what's her face? Oh, crap, I forgot her name. Rose McGowan. That's real. Uma Thurman. That's real. Those are all real cases. I'm not denying all victims. I understand that there are real victims out there. I also understand that there are other people out there who will pretend to be victims because they feel that they can get better attention, because some people thrive on the attention of being a victim. I know this because I have a sister who, when she heard my story and when she heard my other sister's story of what happened to us as children, she had never had a story like ours until her teen years, when all of a sudden she had been assaulted by the rooftopist. And one, she wasn't even in his demographic. She's not his type. Two, she was far too young. And three, when he was on his prowl, she was in jail. So all facts point to she's lying. And yeah, so there's that. And now, see, I, as a survivor, don't really speak about my situation or the details thereof because it's just nobody's freaking business. And I'm moving on from that, and I've moved on a lot from that. It happened when I was 16, and I'm 49 now. Now, I say all of this to say that this woman, my sister, um, she goes out and speaks at rallies as a survivor. She gets paid to speak at rallies as a survivor. And I know for a fact that she is not a survivor. There are people out there who go out there and speak and gain sympathy and empathy from a crowd for no other reason than to get the attention as being a victim, because they thrive on that type of attention. And I don't know how else to say it, but those of us who have been there and lived through it, well, we can smell it on them and we realize that they are liars. And so, therefore, it causes a lot of tension between people like me and my son, who, when we speak about these issues, he will forever take the social justice route and be all, well, I believe all victims. To which I say, why do you not believe Johnny Depp? And on that note, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.